In section 1.2, we look at applying order of operations, which is a very key concept in algebra. So when an expression contains more than one operation, students need to use the correct order of operations. The order of operations is based on a convention. And so long as everybody follows that convention, then we're going to be okay. Everybody should end up with the same answer. So in order to remember this order, some have traditionally used the acronym PEMDAS to remember the prescribed order of operations. And then some people use a little modification of that you'll see in just a few moments. So here's PEMDAS: parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Some people also use the phrase "please excuse my dear Aunt Sally" to help remember that order. And this works as long as you keep a couple things in mind. So first of all, the P in PEMDAS represents not just parentheses, but really any type of grouping. And we have other examples of grouping like brackets, braces. A fraction bar actually shows grouping, and also a radical such as a square root. So if we wanted to make a really crazy example, we could do something like this. We could have 4 plus 3 inside of parentheses, and then subtract 2, and then put that inside of brackets, and then multiply that by, let's say 4, and then put that inside of braces, and then add 7, and then divide by, how about something like the square root of 2 plus 7 minus 1. So here we have all sorts of different groupings. There's only one set of parentheses, but a lot of groupings. There's a set of parentheses first, then a set of brackets that also shows grouping. There's a set of braces which shows grouping. This radical shows grouping. The 2 plus 7 gets grouped together. Also, the fraction bar separates this group from this group of terms. Okay, so a lot of grouping there, not just parentheses. So keep that in mind. And then the other thing to keep in mind is that multiplication and division are equivalent. And so if you have both in an expression, you have to apply those in the order in which they appear. So work left to right. So really, the multiplication and division here are equivalent. They belong together. Same way with addition and subtraction. Those are equivalent, so you apply whichever one comes first, working left to right. Now, because of those little catches, some people prefer a modification, such as you might hear GEMDAS, where the G represents grouping, or even simpler yet, GEMS. So here's where we look at grouping, which remember includes not just parentheses, then exponents, then multiplication or division, whichever one shows up first, and then subtraction or addition, whichever one shows up first. So we have our 4 layers here giving us GEMS. So whichever method you use to remember, just remember that you do need to follow a conventional order or you're going to end up with the wrong answer. So let's look at some examples here. So here we have 3 times 2 plus 8. Notice the parentheses here do not indicate grouping. These indicate multiplication. So we're looking at multiplication and addition. Multiplication comes first. And here's the way I want to see you doing this, is to show each step. So I'm going to show that 3 plus 2 comes first. We have 6 plus 8. Then we apply our addition to get 14. Here we have the same numbers but different grouping. So we have 3 plus 2 times 8. We need to do that multiplication first. So this is equal to 3 plus 2 times 8 is 16. So we get a total of 19 for our final answer. Number 3, here we have exponents, or an exponent. Again, remember the parentheses here is not for grouping, it's for multiplication. So we need to apply the exponent first. So we have 4 squared is equal to 16 minus 2 times 3. Now we can do our multiplication. So we have 16 minus 2 times 3 is 6. And then finally subtraction. 16 minus 6 is equal to 10. Now number 4, we have plenty of grouping going on. So we do have a set of parentheses here with an operation inside. So we need to look at that before we can do anything else. So we're going to look at 5 minus 2 is 3. And write the rest of it as is. Oops, divided by 2 minus 4 times 6. Okay, so we've taken care of our parentheses. Remember, this parentheses is only showing multiplication, not grouping. So now we look at exponents. And we do have an exponent, so we need to apply that. So 3 squared is 9, and then continue to write the rest of this. Plus 8 divided by 2 minus 4 times 6. So we've taken care of grouping, exponents. Now we have multiplication or division, whichever shows up first. And in this case, the division shows up first, so that's next. So we have 9 plus 8 divided by 2 gives us 4 minus 4 times 6. And we still have several operations left here. Addition, subtraction, multiplication. Multiplication is next. So we have 9 plus 4 minus, and now we look at 4 times 6 is 24. And we are now to addition and subtraction. We do whichever one shows up first, working left to right. So we have 9 plus 4 is 13, and then minus 24. And then finally, 13 minus 24 would give us negative 11. If you haven't dealt too much with negatives yet, don't worry, you will soon, but hopefully you've seen those before. The key here is to get the operations in the correct order. Okay, number 5, 36 divided by 3 squared times parentheses 2 plus 4. So here we do have a grouping that we need to deal with. So this is equal to 36 divided by 3 squared times, and then 2 plus 4 will give us 6. Now we've taken care of our grouping, we look at our exponent. So we have 36 divided by 3 squared is equal to 9 times 6. Now we're left with division and multiplication, and we do whichever comes first, which in this case is the division. So we have 36 divided by 9 is 4 times 6. And finally, we get 24 for our final answer. Okay, number 6. So here we need to deal with, remember the fraction bar really is grouping, so we need to deal with the numerator separately, the denominator separately, and then look at simplifying. So within the numerator, we will apply the grouping first and add 1 plus 8. So this is equal to 2 times 9. We could do the denominator at the same time here. We have, again, a grouping here. So we take 6 minus 3 is equal to 3 times 3. So now in the numerator we have 2 times 9 is equal to 18. 3 times 3, that is a 3 by the way, 3 times 3 is equal to 9, and we get 18 divided by 9 is equal to 2. Okay, now we want to evaluate the expression, so we're going back to section 1.1 where we have to substitute a value in place of a variable and then apply the correct order of operations. So first of all, substitute. So we have 4 times 3 plus 7. And now for our order of operations, we do the multiplication first. So that's equal to 12 plus 7, which gives us 19. And number 8. Finally, we have, we have a multiplication outside of grouping. Within the grouping, we have a multiplication, we have an exponent, and we have a subtraction. But first we need to substitute that 4 in place of the x. So this is equal to 1/2 3 times 4 squared minus 10 in parentheses. So within the parentheses we need to deal with an exponent, then a multiplication, then a subtraction. So next step, we have 1/2 3 times, and now we evaluate the exponent. 4 squared is equal to 16 minus 10. Now we have to evaluate the multiplication here. So we have 1/2, 3 times 16 is 48 minus 10. And now we just have one operation left in that grouping. So we have 1/2 times 48 minus 10 is 38. And finally we can take 1/2 times 38, or in other words 38 divided by 2, and get our final answer of 19. So there you go with applying order of operations. Be very careful with this and make sure to follow the prescribed order. Good luck.